Hello everyone, this is Phil Fernaro and this is Lightbulb Moments. It's all about the energy. And as you can see, we are now doing video. I wasn't ready, it was about a year. I was gonna do it at the year time frame, but I said, what the heck, my buddy Kevin Cawley here, he said, hey, let's do some video. I go, why not? And as you know from our podcast, it's been going on for a while now. And I said, you gotta go outside your comfort zone, try some new things, and really sort of dive into things that you're not real comfortable with. And once you do that, and then you see how it works, and then that's the only way to see if you can advance. So, what's good for the goose is obviously good for the gander. So the only thing that I thought about too is what to do with my hands. And as you know, I'm a big video guy. I mean, a big movie guy, and I feel like Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. What do I do with my hands? So yeah, so anyway, so we've got a great guest today, Kevin Cawley, and we've been back since like 2016. And the cool thing about Kevin is that he does what's called cost segregation. And I didn't know anything about cost segregation until I met him, and I dealt with dozens of accountants during my time period, probably more than that, maybe 20, 30 accountants. And Kevin talked to me about cost segregation, and I said, well, I don't understand it, will you explain it to me? And he did, and I'm gonna let him explain it because he does it far better than I do. But the key component to all this is that I learned from him, and as you know, this podcast, what's most important is learning. And if we're not learning, I think that we slowly but surely are gonna lose our business advantages and pretty much die inside a lifetime. So anyway, this is sort of where we're going today. So hey, bear with me. I know I'm not going to be an expert at this right away, but over time, hopefully this will be the trigger point for better things for our bright community. So without further ado, Kevin Cawley, how are you today, my friend? How are you?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. A little tired. I mentioned before we started filming, my 4-year-old kept me up pretty late yesterday. So
that's awesome. That's happening to you and not me.
Yeah, right.
My kids are older now, so
she said she had a nightmare, which I didn't think, a 4. But she said, this woman wouldn't let me out of my room, and I'm like, I always tell you, you could come and get mom and dad, and so I slept on her floor. And she was intermittently up, 1:30, 3:30, 5:30. At 5:30, I said, screw it, I'm up.
It's like torture you see in the movies where you're about to fall asleep and then they wake you up again.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for coming even though you're tired, and thanks for bringing the video crew in. These guys are awesome. If you want to introduce them too, just tell a little bit about them.
Yeah. Austin Opfer, he's my main contact here. He's been doing some marketing for me for 6 months. Since we started. So Cost and Kev will be across every platform, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And we're gathering content to do a full launch. So I figured when you were going to have me on this, I said, just bring the guys and now I'll get some content. You'll get some experience with video, and it's a win-win.
It's like a dream. I mean, this is how this podcast has been progressing to our bright community. It's like, hey, we have these great connections, but then these are the ideas that maybe send this podcast into a new level, and it'll allow us to help our bright community in different ways. And I think this is awesome. I appreciate the courtesy of doing that. And you came to my office, which is the best thing ever. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, so I want to set sort of the parameters of, I know you're a really great networker. We're going to get into that. Sure. But and you've connected with me, many of people, and I've tried to do the same. But let's explain a little bit about cost segregation, because a lot of people don't really know about cost segregation, and then I think this will give value to the next couple questions that we'll have.
Without going too far in the weeds, anytime someone buys an investment property that has to go on a depreciation schedule, simply put, federal rules say commercial assets like your law office will depreciate over 39 years. Anything residential, over 27 and a half. So what most accountants do is you buy a building for $1 million, let's say you buy a building for 1.2, I always use this example, and it's a law office. Let's say it's this building, which I did cost seg for Phil on this already, so anyone watching, don't call him.
No, but before you go into it, that was the entryway into it.
It was.
I sort of I'm sort of the guinea pig for my clients, because you brought up the concept, and I said, let's give it a try. If it fails on me, not my client. Yeah. So that was sort of the theory.
You were a noticeably early adapter. Like I went through it, you're like, great, let's do it. I was like, okay. Yeah. So that worked out well. But anyway, you buy a building, Phil bought his law office, let's just make up the numbers. For 1.2 million, all your accountant would do is take 1.2, your purchase price. Let's say they got 200 grand for land, right? So land doesn't depreciate, so you got to subtract that. So he's got your $1 million purchase price with land subtracted, divided by 39. That's all these guys do. It's called straight line depreciation. So $1 million divided by 39 is 25,600 again. And I'm not Rain Man again.
Yeah.
I use it.
Use that example.
I had a guy go, do it with 3.53. And I was like, dude, no. But anyway, 25.6. So that means you could reduce your taxable income by 25,600 from year 1 to year 39. Okay, that automatically happens whenever someone buys a property.
Got it. So this is depreciation.
101.
And depreciation isn't the actual depreciation of the building. Your building's not going down in value.
Right.
This is an accounting practice.
It
right?
is.
All right.
Yeah, essentially, anytime it rains, your brick is getting weaker. Anytime it snows, your roof's getting weaker, right? But how much by? So they come out with these numbers because they know eventually you got to do some CapEx. So they give you depreciation as like, hey, eventually you're going to have to put some money into this place. So they give you depreciation. So what we do is we say, wait a minute, not every part, piece, and component in this building will last 39 years. So all cost segregation is we're going to take your building apart on paper and separate every part, piece, and component that won't last 39 years, put it on its correct depreciable schedule, right? So we'll say, hey, the flooring in here won't last 39 years. It'll last 5. Since our group's valuation specialists will say the floor is 60 grand of your $1 million purchase price, right? I'm just making that up.
Sure.
Why divide 60K by 39? We'll divide it by 5, and now you get a much larger write-off on these smaller items in the earlier years of ownership.
Yeah, it makes sense. And this is not something that you just made up. This is based on the IRS codes, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I often, still to this day, I've been doing it 10 years. The firm's been around 24 years. It's been in tax law since 97. You wouldn't believe some of these huge groups I speak with that may have 200 million in an apartment portfolio, and they go, you can do what? Pretty wild.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like the Wild West. That was probably when I started. Now, a lot of guys have a guy, so I started at a good time.
Yeah, you did.
A lot of guys guy. But there's still a ton of opportunity out there to educate and
yeah, and especially that's sort of the key for our Bright community. You sort of got a niche, and you were an early adopter, and you connected with people that appreciate that early adopter concept. And that's why I always say, I'm a big advocate of staying with people that I know, and I think that the loyalty part of it is sort of critical to everything that we do in life. Is that you're the guy that got me there the first time. You helped a lot of my clients, and that reflects tremendously on me.
Yeah.
And that's why some of my clients, even though they're accountants now, understand it, will continue to work with you because you did that. So
and I appreciate the business, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate. See, that's why it's, again, I think our Bright community, they really have to understand, this is what we project, is that it's not the appreciation that I need, it's the fact that you're helping my clients, and I appreciate that. That's more important because we're obviously client-centric, and that's the most important. My friends, family, other people that are operating in this industry, it's really, really important to have experts in every single area. Sure. So I got to call my boy Ion Montiani. He's my hardwood floor guy, and tell him that these floors better last 40 years. But I digress. They actually look pretty good, but they are getting faded with the windows and all the other stuff too. So that's sort of the concept.
It is, yeah.
Day one they were like beautiful, shiny, and then now they you have to get them fixed again.
The rain, they get beat up. It's a floor.
Got it. So most of the time, I think they did accelerated depreciation early in the 70s, in the mid 70s, but then it went back to this long form. Have you heard anything about this new? I know there's a lot of tax things going on now. With the new administration, it's almost insane in 2025. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Have you heard anything?
No, but everyone's talking about this bonus depreciation. So in my example, we take a building apart. There's 5-year buckets, 7 and 15 for these studies. Trump did the Tax Cuts Jobs Act in 2017.
I remember.
So 2017 to 2022, anything groups like mine put in a 5, 7, or 15-year bucket, you didn't have to wait 5, 7, or 15 years to get the depreciation. You could take 100% of it up front.
Yeah.
So we called it cost like 2.0. It's like insane. So a flood of business came in. Now that's sort of money is phasing out, right? So anything bought in 23 only gets 80% up front.
Yep.
2024, 60 and 25, 40. However, the chatter is he's going to bring that back. 200%. I don't see why he wouldn't. But it's the government. You don't know.
So what you're talking about, this bonus depreciation in 2025, is it at 40% or 60? It's already at 40%. Yeah, that's why a lot of people were chasing it the last couple of years. Because it was amazing. And see, these are the type of things. Is like, I keep on telling my clients and family, friends, everybody said, you're making all this good money. What are good mechanisms to keep that money?
Yeah.
And these deferrals and the old 1031 exchange still is a positive thing. Step up in basis is obviously, when the property values step up at someone's death, and not a great day, for the person that dies and the family, but the value goes back up. And now these certain accelerated depreciations that if you take advantage of it, you'll have offset capital gains, right? And rental income.
Yeah.
And these are things that are important because why do I want to pay full gain if I have this advantage?
Totally agree.
Why do you think that people don't take advantage of these types of things?
I'm back to when we first started talking. So most of my job is education. You don't know what you don't know. So I educate people constantly. Like, hey, you can do this. I got in with a bunch of estate planning attorneys recently too, because depreciation is not recaptured at death. So I kind of said, hey, if you got some clients who've never done this and they're up in age, it's kind of grim to talk about, but have them do cost seg now, because when they pass, none of that's recaptured. Their heirs get it with a step up in basis. Do it all over again.
Yeah. So then talk about this too, because what I think people forget though is that we get this big advantage now, but if we sell the property, in a couple years, we got to pay that difference. Can you explain basis and value at the time of purchase and sale, just so that we get sort of an idea?
I would explain. First, I want to touch on the recapture. So no matter what in real estate, you have your office, you didn't do cost seg, let's say, and now you've owned it 7 years. Well, you got, in my example, 25,600 times 7, and you sold this building, you're going to pay all that back. So no matter what, there's recapture in real estate, whether you do cost seg or not. The cost seg accelerates that. So it's really good for long-term buy and hold guys, because here I'll free up, we'll defer $100K in income tax that you owed. You want time to take that $100K, reinvest it, put towards debt, purchase more property, put towards principal, something. You want to do something with it, because when you sell, you will owe that back.
Got it.
So it's all your depreciation plus the $100K I helped you defer. It's all got to be paid back.
Yep.
So the longer you hold, the better it is. And I focus on that too. I like kind of telling guys the bad news up front, because, they need to know that. So there's a lot of people out there who just jam this down someone's throat, or they go, hey, you own a rental property, you're perfect for this. Not at all. How long are you going to hold? What's your plan with this stuff? And that's kind of how I like to educate is let everyone know what you're getting into. And then what I do is, here, take my analysis, bring this to your tax guy, and make sure you can fit this in your plan. So I don't even, sign anyone up, so to speak. They better get the green light from their advisors before moving forward.
So do you get any resistance, at all from accountants when you bring this to them?
I used to. One of my larger clients, it's a large collision center company, 650 locations currently. But when I met the guy at 14, his CPA was, at the time, in a basement of a house in Joliet, and he thought it's fraud. And so our CFO at the time was a CPA. Well, let's get you on the phone with our CFO. And she took him to the cleaners, kind of embarrassing. Which, still this day, I'm like, you shouldn't have approached it that way. But she wanted to say, this is real, it's some tax code here, Anyway, this guy ran out of that meeting and said, you got any good CPAs I can talk to? Yeah, why? I just fired him. We'll call him Joe. It wasn't his name, but yeah. So I used to get not a lot of resistance, but people don't know what they don't know. And then, how it is. I can only assume that if a client's bringing it to them, now it's kind of like, they're like, oh crap, I should have known and brought this up.
That's right.
So I'm more on their side. My biggest business feeders are tax advisors.
Of course.
So I never want to throw anyone under the bus by any means. You don't know what you don't know is the truth. But to push back just because you didn't know about this yet is not a good idea, I think.
That's a fabulous light bulb moment. So for our audience, our bright community here is that Yeah, see? We got visuals now. I didn't even think about that. This LBM is brought to you by Kevin Cawley. You know, that's very nice.
Yeah.
So the idea, that's funny, I got to start acting more for the camera. See that? Very good for my audience. See, I'm learning, everyone. So the idea here, the light bulb moment here is that if you have professionals, you have to truly talk to the professional, and you have to hire professionals that aren't going to be like that. Yeah. You should ask those questions, because all the time, you know, I'll get someone asking me a legal question about something like medical malpractice or something. Listen, I'm not the guy to do it, but I have somebody else to do it. And if I can't be very modest with the fact that I'm not going to, clients appreciate the fact that you're honest with them. It's like if that accountant just said, "Oh, I blew it. You know, I didn't know about it."
Yeah.
You know, but I'm helping you in all these other ways. But now we have this guy, and let's implement it.
Yeah.
That positive approach means worlds to the client, and you're not going to lose a client. If you lose a client because of that, that client should be gone anyway.
You said it perfectly. That's the approach. You know, I don't know everything either. I'd get questions still on cost seg and stuff. I just say, hey, let me bring it to the tax team. I don't know. It's better to be upfront, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy.
Let's double check it. That's the reason you brought it to the accountant. And this is, hey, what about this issue? And the best thing is, for our bright community, is always talk to the person, and before. If the two professionals, encourage them to talk before to get all the disagreements out of the way first. Yeah. Then you talk to the client uniformly and say, here's what we agree on. Here's some disagreement. How a client, what would you like for us to do? It's a pretty simple process, but everybody's worried about, how they appear. So
yeah, agreed. No one can know it all. So, not even ChatGPT, because there's a lot of data on there. But they know a lot.
They know a lot. It is the more I talk to people that I just had a podcast with my dear friend Pete Troost, who's an engineer or he's an operational person for startup company, venture capital, et cetera. He helps with the operation part of it. I didn't really say it well, but listen to the podcast and you'll know more about it. He explains it better than I do. But he says is that it's really, really starting to shift to the point where AI is becoming, sort of the dominant part of all these businesses. I wonder if, is there a way to navigate that process with cost seg, or is it really not part of that analysis yet?
I'd imagine there would be a time where it's heavily used for what we do. One of the things the IRS wants people to do, like your study, right? I had to come out, take some measurements, photos.
Yep.
A lot of groups out there are doing that virtually. Okay. There's groups that'll say it's totally fine to do it virtually, but the IRS audit technique guide, there's 14 points to a quality study. One is having someone who knows what they're doing visit the property to kind of verify what you told me. You can say I put $200K into the place.
Yeah. You could just set it.
You just set it. Yeah. So verify. You're an attorney. You get it. You can't just take someone's word. You gotta get out there. So I like that we do that. So I don't know. Can AI come in here? I don't know. You could probably get photos from anywhere, but they want someone on site. So at least
presently,
I'm safe for
a while.
I'm safe for a few years.
But that's the idea here is that you have to figure on every individual industry. So in our bright community, when they're thinking about this, they have to figure out how to apply AI to their business. And if you're not paying attention or trying to figure it out, and maybe just plug into ChatGPT that, hey, guess what? Am I going to die as a business person if I don't do these things?
Sure.
And get some ideas. I mean, that's what it is. Sort of sparks ideas for next steps with businesses. So I recently had solar installed here at Fernaro Law.
You got it here?
Yeah, we got it here.
Nice.
But they already had a sort of an accelerated depreciation structure. I got in when it was 80%. Yeah, the panels and so forth, and then the roof and stuff like that. So I mean, these are things that are also partly part of a process to depreciate quickly.
Yeah.
So are you in the business of trying to figure out other things for your clients, or are you strictly on the cost segregation?
So my core competency is cost seg. In the past, I've raised capital for some guys, put together deals, right? So clients selling an asset, and I go, oh, I have a group buying those types of assets, so I want to connect them together. Other than that, I mean, that to me is how I separate myself from other cost seg guys. I'm not just thinking cost seg. I'm going, when I'm with clients especially, what else do you need kind of thing. I want to be a good resource. So, but I do want to stay in my lane. I'll stay in the real estate lane, right? If someone says, hey, I need solar. I have a great solar contact, kind of like you do, right? I want to be the hub, a resourceful hub. So whether you need solar or, hey, do you know a good painter? I want guys to come to me. And I don't always have the answer or the guy, but, I'm building out my hub.
So how do you process it? I think our break community, a lot of the people that I deal with aren't really good at networking and connecting. And I know you are. I mean, you've connected with me some wonderful people, as I did for you. Yeah. So I know how I do it. Our break community out here, they're sick of me telling them how to do it. How do you do it? What is your strategy?
I wouldn't even say a strategy, but more so if you meet someone interesting, and it's human psychology or physiology, if you're gonna hit it off type of thing. And if they know what they're talking about, I always make it a point to get one of their cards, and I have a Rolodex, like old school. Like not a CRM, you got a Rolodex.
So everyone, a Rolodex.
Yes.
I think everybody knows what a Rolodex is, but this is like the second or third time. It's like the old style. Remember they were like,
yes.
Sir, you put your business card or you write it. I think I still have mine.
Yeah, I have shoe boxes full of cards. I like the old school stuff. I don't have a CRM. I don't. No. I'm told, hey man, that'll really help you out with follow up.
Yeah.
I just don't, but doesn't mean I won't. But yeah, so that's my thing. If you see someone speak or something and they know what they're talking about, I always make a mental note. I got to meet that guy, reach out on LinkedIn and say, hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee or lunch and kind of pick your brain. And then they kind of go in in my mind, a strategic introduction bin.
Got it. Yeah, so that's the interesting thing too, is that what you said was important. So our break community, sometimes everybody's of the opinion, I'm going to bring a bunch of business cards and hand them out.
Yeah.
I've been advocating that that your return on investment is like Animal House Blutarsky when he says your GPA is 0.0. Yeah. And the idea is that that it's not a good mechanism. It's the actual second and third and sometimes fourth reach out that causes. I mean, do you find that? Is there any technique you do to make sure that they remember you or that you make yourself impactful?
Whether I'm doing, I just like to be me. So being genuine, I think it's a big thing, and I'm very memorable just on my own, as you know.
Oh, God.
So no, but as far as follow-up, what I like to do to get guys interested in talking with me is I'll say, hey, you deal with a lot of real estate guys, so do I. There's probably some ways we could collaborate on some level to bring value to the ones we serve. And if no one wants to meet after that, I don't want to meet them anyway, so I won't follow up. It's kind of a one-time thing. If you get what I'm going for here, great. If you don't, on to the next guy type of thing. So
yeah, don't run into a brick wall. You try to make it. You try to make the effort. You give them value, and if they don't want to communicate with you, that's okay. There's billions of people in the world.
Exactly, and like you said too. Let's say I meet a guy who does property and casualty insurance. I purposely try to find them a deal right away. I call it draw first blood. I like to draw first blood, and then they go, "This guy's serious," And so that's a way to be memorable for sure. Is just say, I was thinking of you. I was talking to my client A, and then how I operate, but maybe some of the bright listeners don't. Is I don't want to waste anyone's time, so I actually talk to my clients pretty regularly, and I'll never make an intro until talking with the client first, right? So I don't want to just say, "Hey, Mr. Jones, meet Phil. He's a phenomenal attorney," and he may go, "What the hell? What's going on?" So I like to talk to the guy. So I bring real opportunities. So if anyone's listening to this or I send a referral, I verify first, and then that's how I connect. Otherwise, it's like this Kevin Cawley guy just pounds me with meaningless or waste of time intros.
Yeah, you put it in perspective why it's of value to the person that you're going to refer them to.
Yes.
And are most people receptive to that?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want more business? If you're a service provider, right? An attorney is, I am, insurance guys are, we're all providing services. So who wouldn't want to grow more business? Who wouldn't want more business?
So you seem like you're pretty strategic on how you do this and connect draw first blood, connect, again with the person that you're going to refer to, make that mental connection with them, and then connect the two of them. How did you learn to do it this way? Or were you magically, out of the womb being able to do this?
I think no one sat me down and said, this is the way you do it. Trial and error. Experience is the best teacher. So when I started, I was the guy sending just blanket
right.
And then, a client or someone yelled at me at one point, and I learned, that's not the best way to do it, So I can't recall a specific example. I guarantee you that happened. It's, hey, what the hell? I'm a busy guy. Don't waste my time with that stuff. And then I had to pivot, right? So
I think that's important, what you said. That's the sort of a light bulb moment, is that we have a limited amount of time to be productive, to do things that are benefit ourselves, not to mention fitting in family and friends and things that we enjoy to do when we're not in the business world. It's actually figuring out how to spend your time. And I think that's partly where our Bright community struggles, is that you figure it this way. I have X amount of hours a week. I want to spend as much time doing things that are going to make me happy and productive.
yes.
So I think it's that when you continually have someone like slapping you in the face, you sort of walk away, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I had a convo with my wife today. So my daughters are...
Is this connected to the slap in the face? Or?
Yeah, right? But my daughter, Gwen, she'll be 2 in April.
What's her name?
Gwen.
Gwen, got it.
And she'll be Gwen Florine, which is my father-in-law's mother's name.
See, now she'll be on a podcast here. That's great. She'll have to listen to it later on. Yeah.
I mean, I fought it with my wife. Well, what the hell? And my wife explained why. I said, okay, of course, done, right? But she'll be 2 in April, and then my daughter Maeve is 4, and I bring Maeve to school at 8 now, and I love picking her up at 3. So it's like work smarter, not harder. Because I told my wife that's going to be my schedule moving forward. I'm over the going to the late night networking stuff.
Right.
I mean, I did all that crap for 5 years, and again, it wasn't crap. I got a lot of value. I've made probably great connections I still do business with, but I'm done with it. So it's kind of like the Elon Musk. If you give yourself X amount of time to do something, you're going to do it in that time. Yeah. So I want to fit everything I can from 8:15 to 3 o'clock. It's kind of my new schedule. So maybe I do got to get a CRM.
Bright community, don't listen to Kevin get a CRM. Listen to his advice that he should get the CRM.
I'm just saying I know. But yeah, so I like this. It's kind of a challenge, and I do have to develop some processes. Which I'm evolving, right? So
you have to evolve, and that's the cool thing. Is the best thing that I ever did was I carved out times in my schedule where no one can talk to me, and I don't pick up my phone, and then I tend to fall back into it because there's so much stuff to do. But guess what? You don't lose out if you just spend that time yourself. You actually make it for a better day. Whether it's in the morning, afternoon, having your set schedule, concentrating on the 2 most important things is 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock with Maeve, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, really, really important. The other thing too is it's still, because every single conversation that I have with somebody, I gain value. There's something that's positive that makes me want to have as many more conversations as possible. But what you said is I don't want to do those late night meetings. And how do you sort of pull yourself away from it? Because I know if I go, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to go. I want to go hang out. I want to go out to dinner, have a drink, whatever the case may be. How do you prioritize that and say forget it? Because I know you have the urge.
Of course, yeah. I like having fun.
Yeah.
The FOMO, fear of missing out's real.
Right.
And anywhere I go, I can have a good time. And then not only that, like you said, there probably are, areas where, put it this way, guys. I don't believe that I am ever missing out. So I think it's a mindset thing, right? So I'll just say, hey, if I'm meant to meet this dude, I'll meet him somehow else. I'm not going to force it. I kind of let things come. It's kind of like a Rhonda Burns' The Secret. It's kind of, I let it.
What is it?
The Secret.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like, your subconscious brings your reality to you.
Got it. Kind of thing. We're talking philosophy now, huh?
Yeah, so I'm big into all that stuff. A lot of people don't know that. So it's kind of, hey, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But I'm not going to force it.
Wait, we're not going to let you get away with just that. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your philosophy.
So I'm reading a book now. It's Neville Goddard.
Neville?
Neville. Yeah, an old philosopher, Goddard.
You're throwing a lot of interesting names at me today.
At your command, yeah, Florian Neville. And it's more so about you could will things to happen, and in the Bible it's kind of like, go pray in secret, and wherever two shall agree, it shall be done unto you. His take on that, it's me and you agree, and something's going to happen. It's your subconscious agreeing with your conscious. So if you get that to agree, it will happen. So you can say, hey, I want to earn X this year. If you trick yourself into believing that, the world will move and get things lined up for you to get there.
So that's pretty fascinating. And maybe you're not even tricking yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this philosophy that if you project something that you really want and you feel that it's happening and it can happen, then maybe it's just like another set of goals that sort of develops internally.
When I was looking at your questions, one of them I said, oh shit, I never wrote down a goal ever, but I do have my affirmation list, right? And so one of the things
Is that like Jack Handy from Saturday Night Live?
One of the things I say, my wife is going to laugh, is the last thing, I'm the sexiest man alive. I say that in the mirror looking at myself.
So it is like Jack Handy from Saturday Night Live.
But it's a confidence booster. I believe it, man. So, confidence is a good thing.
That's right.
But I do that often. So I guess the light bulb moment, I do write down goals. They're just in the form of affirmations.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny too, because I don't write down goals either. And I have this, and my process is weird. Like I have this constant change going on in my head at all times. That's why I like doing this podcast, because we can go down so many different areas.
Sure.
Prioritizing what question to ask, how to ask it, when. I love that. But you're right. The certain set of things that we do on a daily basis are our goals. Maybe they're not written down.
Right.
Maybe it's important for people to write them down to see them. But your mind works so fast, maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean.
Or you do write down your affirmations.
I do, yeah. I might have it's all beat up, but let's see. Yeah, look at this. Who knows how old this one is?
It's right behind the dollar bill.
Check for $5 million to myself. But yeah, you get it.
Oh, that's all. He's laminated, or is that just tape?
No, it's tape. It's tape. I gotta get a new one here.
No, I think that's awesome.
God's blessings are chasing me down. That's number one.
All right. What else you got on there?
Money comes to me easily and naturally.
Uh-huh.
I'm the sexiest man alive. What's on here? You want to keep this?
No.
I autographed it. Don't cash the check.
That's unbelievable. So that's good. So when do you pull that out?
I read it. I usually would read it every day. I have one at my office. This one's been with me for quite some time, as you can tell. It's all up, so I got to redo that one. Plus, like I said, the more I read things, I want to change it up too. And now I'm much more family focused than earning focused. So I've never been the type of guy I want to be worth $1 billion. No, I want to be comfortable and enjoy my family, because that stuff matters. What's in the bank? It's never been a driver for me. Never.
So when did it never was?
I shouldn't say never.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to figure out how you said you evolved. So how did this happen that became the case? Because that's real important. Why I'm asking the question is it's real important to our bright community, because we're all sort of very busy people and we prioritize things and in a very interesting way. So how did you get there?
I right out of high school was a union carpenter. Right at 18. So not a college guy. Yeah, local 181 in Elmwood Park. Did a ton of work downtown, schools, hospitals, things like that. So I was in it for 11 years. When you're in that job, this is not all carpenters or trades guys, but guys are just waiting until 12, right? And then they're like, let's get a beer or two. Go back from lunch, do a couple hours of work, go have more beers. And then go home, eat dinner, and do it again. Not a good habit, right? So then when I'd get laid off, I would look into 1099 jobs. So I worked solid. I worked for 8 years straight, not a layoff at all. Year 9, I was off for a couple months. Year 10, I met my wife, and I was off for 6 months. So I'm going, how the hell do these guys have family and you're working 6 months? So, I got unemployment, but it's not a good feeling just sitting like, oh, I'm getting my check. So I looked for 1099 jobs, and I found a collection agency called Trans World Systems that interviewed me. They hire, They're still around. They're a huge firm. But if you get 1099, the guy was pretty straight up with me. They'll hire whoever, you know.
Doesn't matter.
Get on the phone, kid. Here's the script.
Yeah.
So I would do that. When construction would call, I'd go back, right? But then my third year, I was off, I don't know, maybe 2 months, and asked my superintendent, Gary, how long is it going to be? Like, no bullshit. Come on, you know, because I could go do this. So he said it'd be another few months. So I went and did that. The guy who ran the firm called me in, and he said, hey, you make like the most calls here when you're here, but bring in the least amount of money. I want you to meet my wife. She does a service where we're actually putting money in people's pockets. If you bring that call mentality there, I think you'd do good. So I had lunch with her, and it was cost seg. And same thing, she went over it. I go, why the hell isn't everyone doing it? I actually brought another guy, Mike, from the same company with me. He didn't sign on, but I did. I did on the spot. I said, I'll give you a year. And she said, hey, we know you got bills. You got a serious girlfriend. So when construction calls, go back. But when you get home, I would work 6 to 2. So I'm home by 2:30, you know, every day. She gave me a CPA cold email. Like, here's what we do. Here's why you should give me 5 minutes. So I'd go home. I'd get home. I'd blast out, I don't know, 20. Copy, paste. And one day I'm doing construction. I forget the job. I'm pretty high up on a scaffold, and I get an email. It said, hey, I got a client that's good for this.
What are you doing picking up on your phone on the scaffold?
Oh, I mean, it's like a whole floor. I mean,
I got to see.
I'm not on an edge. Yeah.
Not hanging off a building. All right.
No, I had some close calls. We'll talk after on that. But yeah, so I go, oh my God, cool. I forward it to Tammy. I go, what do we do now? Send them this. It was just, you know, how the business evolved already. It was an attachment. So when'd you buy the building? When'd you buy it for? Anyway, the guy sent back 35 of these filled out.
Holy
and
cow.
I forwarded it to Tammy, is this good? And she called me, this is really good. Tell me we need 2 days to run all the numbers and set up a date to come meet him and the client. She ran the numbers. We set up a time. I took a day off construction to do it. And when we got to the building, the CPA introduced the client. It was Neil Gerber Collision and Glass.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my first client ever in cost seg.
So who Tammy's husband was who?
He works at Transworld Systems.
I know.
It was Bob Simcoe.
So Bob Simcoe.
Yeah.
He connected the dots here.
He connected the dots. You want a guy on this thing? You want to have this guy on this thing. So he was big. He's a great mentor for me. Still is to this day. And tomorrow we're actually presenting this group called Casco. So Bob's coming down too. I said, I need some gray hair. He doesn't have any hair, but.
No, he's bald.
Yeah. There's 30 guys. I could do it on my own, but it's always good to have, beef up a little bit.
Well, that's amazing. I mean,
Connected the dots.
yeah, and that's a light bulb moment. He goes, he basically said, you really suck at this, but you would be really good at this.
I had the intent to do the calls.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that part.
Yeah, it shows you that's what you were meant to do, is get connection, and then it was working better in one industry. And that's what we've been trying to tell our bright community is you've got to figure out what you're really good at, then apply it. Don't just keep on, again, hitting your head against the wall. Right. Figure it out. And rely on people like this. I mean, you didn't ask Bob Simcoe for this, right? No. And he just did it. And why do you think he did that?
I think that's just who he is, knowing him now, intimately. But totally changed my life, in a huge way. And I never thought where I'm at would even be possible. You just do the math. I'd have to work 150 hours a week, not, what's nice about sales is the more people you serve, the more your income grows. And this is a good tool where I could serve, I probably have literally 60 projects I'm working on right now across seg, all at once. So that's 60 times I get paid, that's for the month of February here. So.
Got it. So the more people you serve, the more people you get. So you get a lot of referrals. Yeah.
So I can only be on one job at a time. But the company I worked for, Just Right Acoustics, they're still around. The owner, Brad, has 50 jobs going on at once. So why does he get the big bucks? He's serving the many. Whereas a carpenter, you could just, you want me to fix this here? I want to fix it. I can't be two places at once.
Right.
Until AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. Do you ever call Bob and say thank you?
Oh my God, yeah. Like I said, he's coming. Oh yeah, he's again life changer. My parents thank the guy. It was because I was drinking a lot. You just do what you do, right? You
Yeah.
get construction bosses, and they're all good guys. Just they never want, at least in my experience, a lot of guys didn't want more or knew there's more out there, So a lot of guys generational too. Their grandfather was a carpenter, their dad, now they are kind of like doctors,
Yeah.
attorneys,
Yeah.
you know.
Although my kids refuse to
I was gonna
jump into my practice.
I was gonna ask about their plans.
I just want to cry. It's like, come on. There's so much stuff to do here. Come on. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. So you have you talked about Bob, right? Bob Subco, and he's one of your mentors. What other mentors have you had in your time?
There's another guy, funny enough too, who was a big sales guy at the collection agency. This guy, Len Lichterman, who moved over to Cawley too. But he was at that collection place for probably 20 years. So it was kind of funny. So we kind of jumped in together. He may have started, a year or less before me, but picked it up right away because he owned some property and stuff. I didn't own anything at the time, so.
So he was the prodigy in this area, and you weren't. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So I still talk to Len. A lot of the mentors are at the company, and believe it or not,
Your current company.
Yeah. Some of my.
What is your company called?
So I'm branding myself Caustic Cav, but the firm I do all the studies with is CSSI, Cost Segregation Services.
Got it.
Inc.
Yeah, the same one that we've been dealing with.
Yeah. So one trick pony.
No, it's good.
But some clients have became mentors. So I got a young client, Fernando Angelucci, 32 or 3. He's operated 260 million of self-storage facilities.
Wow.
Yeah, and just funny enough, when the second he gets cold, this guy jets to Brazil, because he could work from anywhere. But when he's back, he lives 2 miles from me in Westmont. So we've been hanging a lot. He was one of the first guys years ago, because I've been doing their cost things for a long time. But do you own any property, Kevin? No. If you want to be taken serious, you should start investing. Invest with some of your clients, buy your own stuff because
smart,
right?
Yeah.
So that was and this kid loves to read and listen to books, and he would listen to things on Audible at 2.5 times, just one time. Then he goes, then when you go down to two times speed, you get it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Cool stuff like that. So
wow.
I take his advice a lot. He's it's funny to have a younger mentor. He's younger than me, but knowledge comes from everywhere.
That's right. I mean, you have open eyes to and embrace things that come out of people's mouths, because you never know how it's going to apply to you.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only Italian that hangs out with you here.
Yeah.
So is he from Brazil? Is he an Italian from Brazil, or is he not? He's not Italian.
His family, because he has family there, and he bought a big apartment complex there, and he's it's cool. I got my great aunt up here, and all these people.
So did you take his advice and acquire some real estate?
I invested in some of his deals. I'm actually, for the first time ever, a GP, general partner on a deal. Apartment building in Beverly, where my wife's from. So it's kind of cool. A client of mine I've done 104 cost things for. He's probably got 3,000 apartment units. Brought the deal to me, and I'm going, man, I drive by. I'd say every other week I'm in Beverly, where my wife's from, with the in-laws.
Sure.
And I said, man, that'd be cool to own something in Beverly. And a week later, the deal came to me. Back to manifesting, right? Yeah, right. So it's super cool. I'm going to learn a lot. I even told the guys, let me manage the property. I'll take just so I can know how it is.
Learn, yeah.
Yeah, instead of just being an LP passive guy. So what's cool is having the time freedom to do that.
Sure.
And the construction background will help. But
I don't know. Dealing with tenants, I think maybe you'll switch back to the other model.
Go back to self-storage. Yeah. They say the 3 T's. I forget the third. It's tenants, toilets, and something.
Whatever. It's all tortured. In
my opinion. Yeah. Light bulb moment.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic. Is that when you have something where there's people are always having problems. I'm not. I'm not that. It just didn't sit well. Just like you with the collection agency, and you switch to some of those. It just doesn't sit with me. And we own a lot of multifamily residential, and it's a different business, a different mindset. The people that are really good at it, like one of our property management companies that we deal with, Claritas, they don't mind and they love it.
Yeah.
And it's good because then I don't have to worry about it, because they'll worry about it, and they don't care because they like it.
Yeah, some people are, made for different things,
Yeah.
Just who knows if we'll be doing caustic forever. I love it, but life's short. There's other things out there. I mean, people, I was lucky enough. I got to see a lot of ways people make money. These manufacturing these little widgets. And there was a circuit board company I did a caustic for. It's literally like 4 guys just tack welding these things. There's pallets of them. And they were very profitable. And I'm like, what the hell do you guys do? Like, come on, let's go down on the floor. And it's like, who would have thought this crap's out here?
Yes.
It's just wild. Someone made this pen. Someone did the book binding.
Yeah.
It's like all the stuff.
Yeah, they get their niche and they go with it.
Yeah.
The frustrating thing now, though, is that what I see with some of these people that have built these wonderful businesses is no one, like I said with my kids, I don't want my law firm. Yeah. So, it's fine. We've got a great team, people here that may want it. But the idea is that structure is, do you find that a lot, that people are having problem with succession?
I would say not a lot, but yeah. I mean, there's clients of mine, the kids don't want anything to do with their properties. And some of these guys amassed a nice portfolio. But, when dad passes, they'll probably sell it. It's like, oh my God, the guy worked his whole life.
Yeah.
That's a real blood, sweat, tears thing. All the late night calls, the furnaces, come on. And now you just maybe they want nothing to do with it because they saw their dad do all that.
Yeah. But now they may be dealing with recapture.
Yeah, that's true too.
That could be the problem. Maybe that'll incentivize them.
Yeah,
this is the tax. This is what you won't be getting, as a result of the sale.
They're keeping it all. Good point. Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's a good sales pitch. Maybe I gave you something to sell. You're a good enough salesman. I don't need it.
You see it enough though. Like, think about it. It's the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. And it's been applied to a lot of different metrics now. So they say in any organization, 20% of the sales guys make 80% of the revenue.
Yeah.
They say, go ahead.
For sure.
A guy told me this. Think of it this way. 20% of doctors are really good and love their job, but 80%, well, grandpa was and dad was, I have to be. They don't want to be. You want that doctor? Hell no.
No.
I interview doctors for my daughters and stuff. It's not like whoever you assign me is good. Hell no. Quick story. We could use this or not, but
no, we're using it on mine. So
first daughter was born. This guy comes in, older guy, all good. And my first question, I'm doctor. I said, real quick, do you have any kids? No, I never had kids. I said, sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
You're out, bud. Send in the next one.
Yes.
Like, why do I want advice about my kid? And I get it. The body's the body. But no way. There's a different connection.
No, I believe in that 100%. So it happens all the time. So I spent a good deal of time too. I go to the Cleveland, and my brain community here is getting sick of me talking about it, but I go to the Cleveland Clinic for executive physical this year. I have continued communication with the doctors, the one here and in Cleveland.
Are they monitoring you now through some?
Absolutely, you're giving me high blood pressure. I don't know, what are you doing to me? No.
You're gonna get a call. Your blood pressure is spiking.
Stop talking to that guy.
Can we get the beers going?
Get it started now. Oh, that's what we have to do. We should have had the bourbons.
Yeah.
Or you had just the other day you had peanut butter bourbon or something.
The peanut butter
Whiskey. Was it good?
It's one of our sponsors. Caustic. No, it's not. It's good. It's good. I really enjoy it. Sugary, you can't have, but it's not made to have 10 of them.
No, too sugary.
Tastes like peanut butter.
Yeah, because they started coming out with that peanut butter tequila and this, that. I go, I just want my tequila. Yeah. So anyway, so the doctors, we digress, but the doctors, I make sure that I talk to them, because I always say, if I go in for like something wrong with my knee and the doctor goes, I've never seen this before, it's not your guy.
No.
You got to keep on looking. So then, there's concierge options. It's the potential for just interviewing a bunch of doctors, because it's getting harder and harder. I mean, your industry, private equity is sort of attacking a little bit, and that's what's happening to the doctors, even primary care doctors. They're the next target.
Big time.
It's scary.
There's a big push for guys who want to remain independent. That's nice. But yeah, you don't want these roll-ups they're doing. And now, they buy your medical practice, and now you're just a number because they have 5,000 doctors.
Yeah, just keep on grinding.
And then they go, let's push this shit this month. It's like, oh my God. So too much of that, I agree. I like using independent guys where, and I interview them. You don't have my business yet, buddy. Like, what makes you different from the most.
No, that's the light bulb moment of all is make sure, because what's more important than protecting your health? I love that. So what else? You have anything else? Any other investment opportunities or other things that you dive into or you're seeing, or where are things going in this world?
Well, I do think current administration, the world will get a little better. I do like the Doge thing Elon Musk is doing. Pretty wild to see all the fraud. Not to get political on here, but
don't do that. I have people on both sides. As a centrist, I'm going to get poked. It doesn't matter what you say. Go ahead.
These guys will cut it.
No, it's good. Talk about. Actually, we haven't talked about it. Let's get a little bit of controversial here. Go ahead.
Well, it's just I can't believe all that. How much money has been fraudulently spent. It's pretty wild. So it boils my blood. If anything, my doc's going to call me and say, man.
The blood. Yeah, you know what? I always view these things. It's like there's waste on every side of aisles, middle, this, that. Yeah. Everybody's trying to make a buck. Everybody's shifting based on the administrations. It's the whiffum thing. My dad used to say, what's in it for me? That's what people.
I've never heard that.
Whiffum? You haven't heard whiffum? No. Oh yeah, see, it's like a Rolodex.
Here's what's cool. So I have people on both sides too, but I use that in my caustic spiel. I just say, hey, I don't care who's in office, you're right, left, middle. No matter what, the government's going to misuse this money.
Yes.
Let's keep more of it in your pocket, and so you can invest how you see fit. You get no award, like Elon Musk mentioned. He paid $11 billion in tech. You don't get a thank you. You don't get a trophy.
No, you get nothing.
You get nothing.
So that's the funny thing too is that I've been walking around. So I'm obviously a Tesla owner since 2016, thinking about buying a Tesla since my buddy Tony Ranella bought it off. My buddy Tony, he just said one day, he said, "I'm buying a Tesla." I go, "Have you driven it?" "No." "Have you seen it?" "No." I just, I go, "I'm ordering it." So he ordered it online. He has this Tesla. He took me for a ride. I go, "Oh, I have to have this car."
Yeah.
So I love Elon, the scientist, the engineer, the SpaceX, all the things that he's done. But now it's kind of funny how the dynamics shifted. I wear my Tesla hat in the winter, and I have my boring hat. When everyone loved Elon, and then now I wear it and everyone looks at me and with hateful intent. I go, no, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not changing for this. Cancel me now.
One thing you could use, if you're not going to use that, I've always had the view, whatever's happening out there, my world is my little family. So I haven't watched the news in years. I just refuse to. I get my little email updates, but the news it's always been garbage. Why do I need to know a kid in Virginia was shot execution style, outside their school? What does that do for me? That doesn't do anything for anyone really. I get it if you live in Virginia, you want to know what's up in your community, but
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's bad news all along. So
so I like my view is my world is my little world.
Yeah, what do you think about that philosophy? I think it's a good philosophy is that I have my family. How do I best serve my family and my friends and my community? And whatever that entails is what I'm going to do. It's not going to be outside influences shouldn't affect us.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what else? What's next for Kevin?
My next thing is doing a lot of this stuff. I did hire a few guys, so it's kind of cool. Putting on a different hat. And then it's funny. I see a lot of what I went through in these guys. We have, I have depreciation Don.
What's that?
That's Don from my team, Don Vincent. Depreciation Don. So he's on X, he's posting results and stuff all the time. I hired a buddy, Andrew Kingsley, who was a foreman of mine 20 years ago.
Going back to your past.
Yeah, so he hurt his foot bad, came to construct. I said, come on, I'll put you on. And he's getting into it. He closed some deals. His website's don'twaitdepreciate.com.
Got it.
So my corporate office is like, man, you got all these cool, we want to brand yourself because, companies get bought and sold.
Sure.
So yeah.
So you're creating your brand. That's kind of fun. I love it.
Create my brand and then bringing up some guys. So it's funny to see the issues they're going through is what I went through, And so I told Don the other day, he said, I forgot to leave this out. What do I do? I said, you call the guy right away, dude. The longer you wait, the bigger the problem gets. So he called the client, he got chewed out, but he called back and said, thanks, man. And I said, that's how you do it. You don't let it fester. You be straight up with guys. And that's how I earned a pretty large client of mine, Jeff. Is I dropped the ball and I called. I said, "Hey, I have to. I'm sorry, man. We're gonna be a little late on this." He gave me an earful, but he said, "You know what? You're my guy. You're my custom guy. You said the right things. He didn't point the finger. I could have said, "Oh, corporate slow." No, I biffed up, buddy.
Yeah.
My bad. I do say often I'm only human. Everyone messes up. So when you own up to it, I think that's a rare quality, though. There's a lot of finger pointers.
That's awesome. So that's the light bulb moment. That's that's a good way to sort of wrap here is that admit when you're wrong. You got to be honest with people, and it just shows character. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, but I had to learn it too, so it was cool. I'm sure there was a time back in the day where I did what Don did, and I didn't want to call. I'm nervous. And someone told me it's probably Bob. You pick up that damn phone, and you're gonna take it on the chin. So it was good.
So that's cool though. Is that you said you learned it, and I think that's the most important thing. That's what we have to learn to listen, and then we have to learn. And I think those have been the two huge things for Light Bulb Moment podcast. Is that everybody has said that they've failed and that they've learned and they've gotten better because of it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, as they say. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So what? Anything else? Any other books? I know you had the books, or that you other than Neville Goddard.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm a believer as well. I don't want to read 100 books. I want to read 10 books 100 times type of thing. So that's kind of my philosophy.
Why?
I don't know. I just think if you think of Think and Grow Rich, that's a book they say has created tons of millionaires. And
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, Bob Proctor. He would read a handful of books, but he said that's the one he would read 10 times a year. Think and Grow Rich. Bob Proctor passed, but he was a big motivational speaker. Not like a Tony Robbins pump you up guy. Real practical business.
Was he? He wasn't like a Chris Farley either, right?
No.
The van down by the river.
Yeah.
Would you see that one of the Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. You end up in a van.
Down by the river. Oh, one of my favorite.
Yeah. That's when it was good. I don't watch that anymore either.
Oh, you got to watch the 50-year special. It was fabulous.
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
There were some weird parts of it, but they flash back. Belushi, Aykroyd, Jane Curtin.
Yeah.
Oh, but then even Adam Sandler was fantastic, and then they had their musical guests were really, really good. It was old school, so pretty cool.
There was I just saw a clip. It's back when Mike Myers was on the show. David Spade, Adam Sandler, and it was Bad Decision Jeans. And these guys just got done playing basketball. They're sitting there. And Phil Hartman. So Phil Hartman starts it off. He's like, guys, I was saying, even though the divorce is finalized, I'm going to tell her about the affair. And they're like, yeah. And then this one guy goes, Tim, did you redo your apartment? And he goes, yeah, I ripped the floors up, all new plumbing and all new, heating. And the guy goes, don't you rent? He goes, yeah. So it's all, and they're like, Bad Decision. It's clean, fun stuff.
Yeah. No, that's some good stuff. I love that. Yeah. I gotta watch that one again. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, how do people reach out to you?
I don't mind giving out my number, 773-931-6498, or you can go to costandkev.com. It is being rebranded, but it's still up and running. And hit me up there, and that's how you reach me. There's my number everywhere. Call.
That's good. No, and I love this whole mentor thing because I think a lot of these people impacted you in such a positive way. So that's awesome.
I have one question for you.
Wait. This is unorthodox.
Are you gonna join us for a hot dog over at the?
Oh yeah, we forgot to. Thank you. So so we're really close. One of our favorite hot dog places is Little Joe's. It's here in Countryside on Plainfield Road and LaGrange Road. Best beefs, best hot dogs, and the greatest people on the planet. So that's
best beefs. I'm
gonna
get a beef then.
No, the beef is
I got a spot.
it's delicious, and their fries, like you said before,
The fries are killer.
unbelievable. So Little Joe's.
Yep.
Angela and Gina, very good people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we'll get over there. So anyway, so we had a lot of light bulb moments today, and this is a great episode. And I think it went okay. I'm going to talk to our video and audio experts here and ask them what they think afterwards. I don't want to put them on the spot, but yeah, it was a good try. You know, we got to try once in a while and do the best that we can. And I love this, and I can't wait to do this again. And I think our guests will enjoy this format even more so than Zoom, although the Zooms are working fabulously. Thank you to COVID and all the changes that were made. You know, we're able to do that and interview people all over the world, and it's been helping us connect with people that I haven't connected with forever. But this is a great format. Hopefully, we get to use this group again. Shout out your name for the camera.
Oh, I'm Austin Opfer is my name.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, we love Tony's here. And name of your company.
Uda Creative, EUDA Creative.
Got it. Pump to them. They very professional, came in, set this up. I didn't have to do anything thanks to Kevin and thanks to these two gentlemen who did a wonderful job of making this easy and non-obstructive. And our team is happy that you guys came in, so thanks for that. So some of the light bulb moments that we had, you know, draw first blood. I love that. That's an important experience, is get in there and help somebody first. You don't have to get anything in return, but draw first blood, show your value right away. I love that. Work smarter, not harder. You know, that's a key component. Develop your time so that you're comfortable at all given times in your life, so that you're doing things that what you want to do. Be like Kevin and Maeve. You know, he experiences his most joy at 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock. That's impactful. That's the most important thing to him, is family. He fits everything else in at different times, but those are some parameters that he set for himself. So you, Bright Community, set those same parameters for yourself. Find your right skill set. That was the most important thing. He was a failure at collection, sorry, Kev, but he switched, and his mentor, someone that didn't have anything to gain, says, hey, go over and do this. I mean, how cool could that be? Listen to the people when they talk to you, because maybe they know. And I know we're all egocentric. We all fall into that platform, but guess what? We're usually wrong. Listen, if someone keeps on telling you, if the squeaky wheel, so to speak, if someone's telling you this, listen, because it may help you in the future. Read fast on audiobooks, I think 2.5% times, and then you listen to more podcasts. Try to listen to this one slow, because I think you're going to get a lot of value.
This one 3x.
No. Half. We talk real fast. Don't let things fester, and I think that's an important one, because, listen, I spent all my time, thinking about how I was harmed in my life. But if I don't let it fester, I get beyond it and I dive into it. I admit when I'm wrong. That is hugely valuable to the client, and you feel better. You get it off your chest, and whatever the consequence is, what the consequence is. We fail all the time. So a lot of cool things about mentors. I know we've talked about that. I'm going to start asking that question more in podcasts that are coming up for LBM, because you really sort of generate a lot about these people. And you can see how grateful Kevin was talking about the people that impacted him. Good old Bob, and Bob Simcoe. I really enjoyed that story. So everyone, we'll see you next week for another positive day of illuminating thoughts and light bulb moments. Thanks, Kev, man.
It's gonna be.
That was fun, man. Absolutely. Little Joseph Gump.
It was fun.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.